Serenity now. And as they say it in Seinfeld, insanity later. Here we are for yet another episode of Age of Antiquity. This glorious little beast right here. So what are we working on? We are working on the city map, and I promised I would flip over onto those islands tonight to get a little bit of sexy going on, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So let's just do cross check. Everything seems to be streaming. We are good to go. You know, this is going to be a slog, this map, because it is a population of 200,000. There are a lot of buildings on this thing. But I think we're making pretty good progress. I really do. So with that said, let's hit up this one. Let's make sure our draw size is good. Something like that. So Governor's Mansion right there. A fortification right here. I kind of want to grab some of our towers and bring them across. So I'm going to do that right now. Let's get going on this, shall we? And we want the tower bit. And can I do this? Can I do this? Yeah, there we go. I'm going to make that a larger there, but let's get a few little towers on here. Someone on the stream came up with this great suggestion. I feel like that's too much. I'm gonna move it. But it came up with this great suggestion to literally, because this is a link to the Governor's Mansion, to make it not just a military camp, but like outright fortified. And I love that idea. I really do. So that's exactly what we're gonna do right here. Come on, come on. Something like that, but then I want larger structures there. I'm going to take this one. There we go. So my plan for today, I think if we can get this garrison done, I'll be happy with that. Then that means Wednesday we'll do the Governor's Mansion. Now that will not be too shabby. That will be two very key areas completed. So maybe we'll shoot for that. Okay, so let's keep on this area. But I'm gonna draw in a larger building right here. Okay. Let's bring you down to that. There we go. So there. This is gonna be big. Yeah, you know that's okay. That's okay. Because I think what we can do is we're gonna give it an internal kind of compound of some description. Ooh, you know what would be more interesting? Something like that. There we go. And we'll actually draw the grass and stuff in there. But let's replicate that. Then we give this a layer effect. Color overlay. We give it a little bit of grey. And then we do a little bit of erasing. Okay, something like this. Yep, okay, I'm gonna actually merge, I think, all of these into my wall let's just do a quick test here. Looking for my path. Why can I not find my path? Okay, it's not called path, that's why. Okay. Why can I not? There we go, flagstones. So let's take a look here. And a little on the large side. So let me find out which one I actually did the last time. Yeah, it's none of those, is it? Okay, it was more like that. Okay, I'm going to use that one. Just kind of flagstone this area a little bit. We definitely will do some grass and stuff on it, but I feel like it would be flagged. Nice, Gary. Come back to our regular brush. Okay, so let's actually get some paths in here. Make sure my brush size is good. And there's my little cat whinging his little voice off. I'm going to apologise for that cat whinging in the background right here. So just bring it up to one side, the YouTube chat, because my Streamlabs OBS I think has logged me out. Alright, so I'm gonna get on our trace layer, and this is why I'm gonna plan out this. I want to get rid of all of this. And we are gonna just sketch in so I should have put towers here. Well, we still can. Maybe I'll make them square to add some variation, but something like this. Maybe a fairly large marshalling yard here, huh? We'll change the shape in a moment, but let's mark off space, which means here we'll come straight through into whatever fortification this is. I think this maybe should be straighter. This is a military structure. We don't need curves unnecessarily. Yeah, something like, I think something like that. Let's straighten this up too. I think that could be the layout of things, and then what we need is a whole bunch of barracks and tents and shit like that, right? But this is a permanent structure, so permanent buildings, permanent little barracks, just like these on the other side of the water, just like those, you know? So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to draw some just like that. And then replicate them over and over. And I think set back off the road just a little bit, right? And not next to the marshalling area, just a little bit retreated. Like officer stuff should be around the marshalling area. So something like this. Something a little like that. Apex. How much direction? Asks Wardrobe Plays WW2. No, that's a really good question. So I can actually show you on this map how much direction I got. And it will give you kind of some context here. So, because the client gave me, I'm going to just drag these across. 1, 2, and this. So here's the answer to your question. The client sent this across. Let me take a step backwards. If I get no direction, I have a series of questions that I ask that pulls out the answers that I need. And sometimes clients actually don't know. Even if they think they do, they don't. And there's some funny stories behind that. Because sometimes I will ask, about the city and I get completely irrelevant things that can't actually be mapped. But that said, sometimes a client has an idea of what they need. Sometimes, a little subset again, they have a sketch. This particular client sent us this sketch. So what do we glean from this? There has to be a river. There's 2 bridges. There's 2 aqueducts coming in. They've already told us where all of the points of interest should be. There's 2 islands. And then they gave me a description of what's on those islands. So if I turn these off, maybe I'll keep like this one on and move it off to one side. You can see that we've kind of followed a lot of that. Now, but we have moved some things around. You can see that they've indicated number 1 is a temple district. And I kind of made it just a little bit on an angle. But yeah, okay, I've got the temple district up there. They wanted a gate over here. Okay, we've got the gate. Adjusted for scale. They wanted a forum area here. Okay, we've got our forum area. They wanted a Carthage-like harbour, number 12. Well, okay, we've got that too. Right here. So this is really good. We noodled some things. They've even got like another temple up here, which we're going to do. This is a rich area. We're definitely going to do that. So this is the direction that I got. And honestly, this is probably the most direction that I typically get. They did then send little pictures like, let's do a bigger one. This here, which was a shape of a place called Carwent, which was an old sort of Roman town, which is where I think they got this shape for here, which is why I wanted to keep it. Normally I make my walls a little bit less square, but they wanted it to feel a little boxy like that, so I got no problem with it. So they were actually pretty clear, but that said, everything that then happens on this level, this is all us. We've got to make sure that we've got our main points of interest in, but everything else is us. And we could do interesting things, like have little courtyards or villas and things like that. But that's on us to then inject into the city. So I want to say we actually got quite a bit of direction on this one, more than I normally would. The bird atrium. Honestly, at this scale, there's your bird atrium. I mean, right, at this scale, that's about 30 feet across right there. And that's one thing I will say on this map that has been very different than usual. Because I am drawing at such a zoomed in level, or the buildings are so tiny, I actually think that we're going to have less opportunity for doing crazy detail like the glass panes on an atrium, which is what we would normally do. Not on this map. I just can't see it happening on this map. But I think that's okay. I think that's okay. It's a little bit different than what we normally do, that's all. In fact, let me just... I kind of want... Can I disconnect that? No. I want to be able to see the chat a little bit easier here. Can I bring that in to the side? No, and then that just disappears. Okay, I'm going to keep it right there. A little bit easier to look at. Okay, let's... I don't normally cut and copy too much on my maps. Why? But I think for barracks, I want a level of uniformity, right? So I think it's okay to cut and copy these. If anything, it's desirable. We're gonna have to do... No, I think it could be up against the wall there. I think that's okay. I think that's okay. I'm gonna draw in some of the officer buildings before I do any more, unlike the training grounds. But I kind of want a big concentration of barracks over here. I want it to feel like a major fortification. You know what I'm saying? And we'll do this one right up against... Oh, do I still have something selected? There we go. There we go. Okay. Yeah, something like this. Something like this. And I kind of do want some open grass areas, without a doubt, because this has got to have the ability to move troops around pretty freely. I figured there'd be little marshalling areas, practice grounds. So I'm not going to make this a big, huge concentration of buildings. I'm not going to fill all of it. I need to keep coming back to the fact that there needs to be some open areas here. I'm really tempted to flag this in, and I think we will. I'm going to flag in those paths before we're done here. Do I have any square towers? Did I actually create any? I did! I did! Well, you know what? Stop it. Stop. Steep. Let's get rid of you. Let's go back up to our towers. Take you. Gonna make these smaller. Little teeny tiny towers. Let's zoom in. Now we are gonna color this whole thing so these towers aren't gonna show the wall underneath. There we go. Something like, oop, that moved a little bit after the fact. Something like that. Yeah, that I think will work. Do I want to put them on the governor's side? No, I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be fine. David P. Glass. So, maybe not on the Twitch. So here's what's going on. There's a YouTuber I follow that I have a great deal of respect for. He's actually the author of this music you're hearing in the background. And he recommended consolidating. Now, at my size, it may not matter, but it confuses... And I guess it doesn't confuse people, but if you're doing long form content, short form content, you're doing streaming and just regular videos, but you're kind of all over the place with where you're posting them, he recommended just pick your channel, do everything there. And it had a level of sense to it. So there's definitely going to be a level of rebuilding that I've got to do on YouTube, but I think we're going to try no Twitch for a short while, like a month, and see how it goes. See how it goes. Like, there was a day last week I had quite a few followers over here, just like hanging out and stuff, and it was good. But if it's going to become a wasteland for like a month, maybe the Switch wasn't such a great idea. But we're giving it a go because the logic makes sense. We'll see whether that bears fruit. But I'd like, look, if you want to find her, whether she's Twitch streaming or she's doing like crazy videos or whatever it is, this is where you go. This is it right here. Is that wise? I don't know. But that's the logic behind it. If we can call it logic. I'm going to do this in a building layer. I mean, theoretically, you should be getting a bigger screen, better resolution, and more response time, a lower latency. Do I want a podium in the middle? Or would the podium be to one side? Let's put it in the middle. Let's do something like this. Let's make little melee areas. Something like that feels martially. Let's do something similar over here. Wow, that's almost a straight line. Jeez. Kind of fancy doing a little fenced in or walled in area here, like, and imagining that I've got dedicated stables. Yeah, so how do I want to do this? Roman stables were actually all connected. The guys that rode the horses were in one room, and then the stables would be right joined next to it, which I think is kind of cool. I think we'll do something similar. But how do I want to approach this? I kind of want to... something like this, I think. Alright, we'll go with that. Ah, damn it. Okay. You know what, let's actually rotate this one a little bit. Maybe like a little bit of a gap there, perhaps. Oh. Oh no, don't resize it. Don't resize it. Go. Yeah, let's. My sure I'm getting the look I want, but we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Doesn't feel military enough. I think I want to make this more uniform. It's got to feel more uniform. So, with that said, we're going to get rid of these. We're going to try that a little bit differently. Alright. Okay. I'm preferring how this is turning out. God, these are teeny tiny buildings. Oh my god. But I guess it has the right feel going on. So I'll be okay with that. Yeah. Okay, so how do I want to do this? Little path coming through. Stable your horses. Little path coming up into here. Collection of utility buildings outside. Something like this. Let's get some more barracks going on, I think. Let's take those back. Let's go here instead. We can do this. Okay. Maybe kind of set a little bit like this. No, this one we're going to do a little differently. I kind of want the angles to be different between them, you know? So something like that. We are going to get rid of this one. Need to add some latrines to this place. Let's get rid of this one. And I think this one too. I think that has a good feel. I think that has a good feel. That feels like a military camp to me. I don't know what you think. I mean, to me, there is no denying what I am walking into when I cross that bridge. So I'm happy with how that's turned out. Hey, Brian, good to see you. Alex, good to see you too. Oh, we need like a cookhouse and stuff too, don't we? Okay. Okay. I'm gonna leave that area open now. I think it should be open. Stables we've got. Stables I've added. I like the idea of an armory. Well, one could say that the armory is actually inside that building there, considering that it is fortified. I think we will do another stables though. Yeah. Oh, WW2, I worry a lot about the scale of my drawings, and I'll show you a real world example. Not that one. I don't even know why I've got that anymore, but this here. Oh, not that. Hold on a second. Uh-oh, I just moved my entire city. This. Like right at the beginning of this project, what I did is I got the size that the city would be across. See this one? That bar is 2 miles across. 10,406 feet. That's what that bottom bar is. And from that, I drew this bar. And you'll see that I've got 1,300, 650, 325, 160, 80, and 40 feet. And then based on that, do you see these? I drew building sizes based upon those scales. The smallest ones are just like about 10 feet across. Those are like slum shacks. This one here is about 40 feet, 30 to 40 feet in length. This one here is more of a moderate size sort of building. You're doing okay with this. This one here is more like 80 feet in length. This is, you know, middle wealth. This guy is 300 feet. This is a big ass building. Using that scale bar, I continually, and you'll see this, I do this in the streams at least once a stream, is I make this visible and I put it next to my buildings. So right here, I've got a villa that is 160 feet square. And I'm like, okay, 160 feet is actually a reasonable size. It's not massive, but it's actually a reasonable size. That's a good size building right there. And then when I start drawing smaller buildings, I get this and I put it next to them. I go, okay, that's about 40 feet in length. That feels about right. That's okay. And so this is my, it keeps me honest. It's my keep my honest and me honest scale bar. So now these are barracks, right? But these barracks are about 40 feet in width and about 60 feet in length. And I think for barracks, that's probably about right. And then like these buildings here, they're a little bit different. That's probably about 40, 50 feet in width. And it's obviously clearly longer, getting more towards 100 odd feet in length. So I do worry. On a map like this particularly, why a map like this? Because I know 200,000 people live here. And if I draw my buildings too large, it's just not gonna look like it's got the people density. So I answer your question. I do worry actually, and I bring that bar back all of the time, and I reset myself, especially if I feel like my buildings are getting too large or drifting too small. I get that out and it recenters me. Do I find myself measuring real life buildings? Yes. Actually, a lot of the time, you all out there helped me. Like, it was only a couple of streams ago, and I was like, okay, so how big is, like, such and such a building? Like, what is the largest cathedral in the world? At, like, square footage. And people go off and they get all of this information for me, and it helps me. And actually, real world example, these bridges, we used London Bridge width as a guide for them to make sure that we were in the hemisphere of being realistic. So yeah, I find real life is very important, especially the likes of ancient Rome and stuff. If I know the building size is there, it gives me a canvas to work within. Alex Fixon, citizens, earthquake, mad soothsayer. Nah, just a cartographer goddess moving the wrong layers. Yeah, right? But thank God for being able to do Control Z and taking that back. Do I take the population into account? Actually, yes. Yes, I do. And this is actually a really good city for answering that question too, because one of my questions I always ask my clients, or even myself if I'm drawing for myself, is what's the population of this place? Now, if they don't know or they don't care, or if I don't care, I'm just drawing for drawing's sake, then the result is whatever it is. But once you look at it, you get a sense for how many people live there. This one, the client knew how many people lived here, 200,000. So we actually went off to find some real life cities in history that had 200,000 people living in it. And I think what was the name of the city that we used as an example? Byzantium? Anyway, I forget. Alex Fiction will remind me. But there was a city, a real life city that had 200,000 people. And so we went to that and said, okay, so how big was it? And that's where I got my 2 mile scale bar from. It's from a real life example. If 200,000 people lived in that city and it was 2 miles across, then we're going to make our city 2 miles across. So it kind of all relates, you know? It wasn't Carthage. Carthage came up, but I don't think it was Carthage. I thought it was a Byzantium city that we ended up settling on. I thought, but I could be wrong. I've slept since. It definitely wasn't Detroit. Get out. I forget the name of the city now that we settled on. But anyway, it all relates. I don't normally get that granular, by the way. I can normally eyeball it and get a good sense of, you know, how dense buildings should be and how big the city should be. But this was a special case. Yeah, I don't think you can draw a city with 200,000 people without getting an idea of what your scale's going to be, and then the scale of your buildings in there. In fact, if I did a search real quick, Alex, and it was like, you know, ancient city. I'm gonna kick myself when I remember it. Population sizes. I thought it was like a wiki page that we looked at or something like that. In fact, ancient city. That's not it. That is not it. Largest city population throughout history. I think I looked at something like this, and I scrolled down to where I saw approximately 200,000. You see, Carthage had 500,000 in it. That's why I don't think we did Carthage. Babylon. Ancient city of Babylon. Was it Babylon? Had 200,000 people in it, purportedly. So maybe that was it. Didn't feel right, but maybe that was it. You know, between John Barnhouse and Brian McWhirter, you know, you guys, GTFO. But either way, you get an idea for how I deduced the scale of this place. It wasn't just happenstance. I'm on the wrong layer, so let's come back to buildings. Oh, have I lost my cursor? Oh, you son of a bitch, Photoshop. You son of a bitch. Okay, we're gonna draw without my cursor. I wonder if I can... I wonder if this will help me. Let's activate. Photoshop has got some kind of weird bug in it right now. And if you go to their forums, nothing is useful. It's either Photoshop or it's Wacom. But my cursor is actually behind Photoshop. I could see it everywhere, but not on Photoshop. It's disappeared. And it doesn't matter what I change. Like if I go to edit, preferences, and then I go to cursors, it doesn't matter what I change in here. Crosshairs or whatever. I'll let's say do crosshair, because I do like the crosshair. I actually disabled after the last one. It's just not there still, and it's not caps. If you turn caps, it actually, you know, gets rid of the brush. It's not there. So yet another bug I found with Photoshop. It's like, come on, or is it Wacom? Who knows? Brian, sounds like your cursor is just fine. Cursor's fine, just not on the screen. Like, what would that be? Is that a Photoshop thing? Because if I minimize this, there's my cursor. Like, you can see it. It's right there. Bring Photoshop back. Nope, hidden. That has to be Photoshop, right? It has to be a Photoshop bug. When I see people complaining about this, they get the same answers over and over and over. And the first one is always, turn off your caps lock, noob. But it's not that. And it's only started doing it recently. Alright. Kind of makes me want to look at options other than bloody Photoshop, you know? And Brian, actually, that reminds me that you and I were having a conversation about Illustrator. And I thought you were typing a response to me. I saw typing for a long time, and then nothing came through at my end. But I can't imagine actually drawing like this in Illustrator. Do I want to do that? Yes, screw it, I'm doing that. Alright, let's zoom out. Let's see how we're looking. I think that looks pretty grand. I'm not gonna overpack it with any more buildings. I think that's on point. We're gonna get a little bit of cobble in there right now, some flagstones, and I am gonna leave that exactly as it is, and we're gonna move on to that governor's building, I think. Striker, about your loyalty points. So we're signed. Okay, so first and foremost, I'm not going to do troubleshooting on a stream, but I am going to hear out what's going on. I was signed into via YouTube, but for whatever reason I was logged out. Okay, so so log back in and show the right amount of points. Okay, and that seems to be the thing. You know, when 9 times out of 10, when someone goes to that screen, the reward screen, and they see nothing, they're not logged in. 9 times out of 10. I'm glad you got it resolved. If it shows loyalty points at our end, and you had quite a few, then you've got loyalty points. We just got to figure out what's going on, you know. All right, let's get our pathway done. Let's see if we can remember what bush we were using. I think it was that one. Yeah, we'll go with that. And you know, I'm kind of doing my paths a little bit early. I wouldn't normally do them this soon. Why are the paths on top of the ink? I'm going to bring the path down underneath the ink. There we go. That's better. And I'm gonna get rid of the trace layer in a second here, so we can see what's going on. In fact, I'm gonna get rid of the trace layer right now because it's bugging me. I don't know why I turned my bush upside down to see the bush size, because it's invisible. But apparently I've got a pretty big bush, so let's go careful right here. You've been watching Selena on Netflix. Okay, cool. I actually signed up for History Hit today. It's meant to be like Netflix, but just pure history. I found myself watching a lot of history-related shows on YouTube, so I'm hoping that it gives me some fun. I'm on a bit of a World War II kick at the moment, and I don't know why. It came out of nowhere. This looks really quite nice. I mean, at this scale, I mean, it's nothing. I mean, it's barely freaking visible, but I guess, you know, even just from a texturing point of view, it's a little bit of a different color, so I'll go with it. Do I want to dick about anymore? Like a little bit of this, and a little bit of that? Do I want to do that? Probably not, because some of these might end up being wood, right? I should stop dicking about right now. Actually, Brian, I think it was Hearts of Iron. I'm playing that because I'm on a World War II kick. And that's the bit that I can't quite figure out where it came from. I kind of remember, basically, I don't know, I was looking for entertaining things on YouTube. YouTube suggested I want to say, I feel it started with the top 10 World War II planes or something like that. So I just had it going in the background. And then it suggested Battle of Britain. So I watched that, and I enjoyed that. That was a good little show. And then it suggested like Battle of Midway, and I will admit, I actually don't know much about the Battle of Midway. Now I do, but back then I didn't. So I ended up watching the Battle of Midway. And it was a 3-part series, or I ended up getting into a 3-part series. And it was deeply fascinating. Totally from both sides. And I think it was at that point that I was like, I want to play a game that is capturing some of this. That is capturing some of these strategies, these tactics, this equipment. And I don't know if Hearts of Iron is it, but I was like, and I owned Hearts of Iron. I'm like, I'm in a mood for playing Hearts of Iron now. And it was just from watching those YouTube videos. But now I'm fully in that mode. Like this morning I was watching the assault on Saint... Nazir, I want to say. The assault on Nazir. And it was like, so I'm learning a lot, but I'm like, I don't know where it came from. Why am I just soaking up all of this World War II stuff right now? I don't know. It's a fad. It will pass. Streger likes American Civil War and World War II. I can see that. I can definitely see that. Oh, okay. Cheers, Pex. I really appreciate that. I really do. I will try them out. I won't try it on the stream, particularly because I don't like bringing up Discord on stream, but right on. I appreciate it. I will definitely check them out. Settlers of Catan and Axis and Allies, favorite board games for Streger. Axis and Allies I used to play a lot as a kid. So I had a group of friends, and Axis and Allies was one of our go-tos. That and Shogun. And then, you know one thing, and I still own Axis and Allies. But do you know what killed it for me? When I moved up to Portland, I met a friend who was, and I kid you not on this, an Axis and Allies world champion. He played almost competitively. And he knew, in fact, he had even created his own board that seriously was like 12 feet big. It was all hand painted and shit. It was this massive board. And he was a pro. And he sat us all down once. And I was on his team. Yay! And I made my first move. And he said, you've lost. And it was like playing chess with a grandmaster. You know? It was like, you lost. There was only so many valid moves in any situation, and he knew them. And I kind of took the fun out of it, because I just like to play. You know? I just want to play games. And yeah, I've never played since. I appreciate that level of dedication. I appreciate someone like knowing a game that thoroughly. But I'd like to think that I'm going to have some kind of say in winning or not, you know. First move, you've lost. You failed. Oh, sadness, tears. Alright. Bush is too big. There we go. I like that. I like that a lot. Alright, so Governor's mentioned, we said it was going to be something like this. I need to decide if I want to have a big, huge tower at the entrance. I think I don't. But what if the tower... What if you went through the tower when you get to the Governor's island? And what if the first area you're in is like the compound? What if that area is a compound with some outbound buildings and things like that? And yeah, the Governor's mansion is back over here, like away from you. I'd be right. I mean, that'd be cool, right? As a governor riding through in your little cart. Well, you know, in the back, all covered and shit. But I'm not... It doesn't need the tower, I suppose. I feel like we need to add some, like, cliffs or something, you know, on the edges here. Because otherwise, if the enemy was going to take out the governor, they'd just sail up onto the bloody island and like, nuts, son. How you like that? I mean, why have all of these great defenses and everything if you could just, like, bypass them? What if the tower doubled as a lighthouse? I like that. I like that. I'm trying to figure if the governor would like... Well, it's not like... I was sitting there thinking about this bloody strobe light in his face. Of course it's not. It's just a fire burning. I could be down with that. Alex Vixen, that's pretty much exactly it. In fact, he was really good though. It was any strategy game. He was a guy that really enjoyed strategy games, like board games, but could understand the underlying mechanics, but needed to win. And I'm not talking about to the point where he was just an arsehole at the table. It was never like that. This is a guy that wants to understand the mechanics of a game, so he will win. So playing with him on any game was very difficult that way. It was very difficult. And if it had a random element, he liked it less because he couldn't control it and win. And I remember him sitting there sometimes and breaking down, you know, his thought process. And I learned a lot from him. Even just some simple rules. But he wasn't very fun to play strategy games with, what can I say? It didn't matter what it was. I'm really not sure about this lighthouse thing. I'm thinking about we put a lighthouse on a different island, like over here. I'm not sure the Governor's Island should have a lighthouse on it. I guess that's where my head's at. Governor could have underwater sea mines on that side. Are you talking about the mines floating in the water to blow ships up? Is that what you're talking about? So how do I want to lay this out? Well, you know what? While I'm thinking about this, I'm going to go to the ink layer and I'm going to add some little cliff edges right here. Today, I was sorting through a lot of my old projects. And I found a bunch of maps I actually forgot that I did. Seriously. Whole bunch of project folders. And I was like looking at the names going, what? Who? And I found some old styles for how I used to handle hills. Makes me wonder how long this particular approach that I've got going here is going to last. Hey, Jonathan's here. Oh, Jonathan, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Can we get a big hugs for Jonathan, please? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You just sit there. We're gonna map. Have some easy, chill music going in the background. I'm sorry, my friend. I'm sorry. So Pex said, What about skeleton ships? Sunken ships partially sticking out of the water. Yeah. For some reason, I've got this governor as wanting a nice view. You know what I'm saying? It's one reason why I'm a little adverse to putting a lighthouse on his island. I feel like this governor just wants, like, you know, we were talking about the governor like looking out towards a city. Like, would he do that? Does he want to look out to the sea? I don't think he wants to look out to the sea. You know? And if he's looking out to the sea, does he want to see these shipwrecks all over the place? And back then, I actually, so here's the thing. I actually think it wouldn't work. Wooden ships, sunken, as some kind of reef, would wash away real fast. And I know this because I was watching a video of Dunkirk the other day, and I was watching their concrete and steel false harbours that they created. And they sunk a whole bunch of ships. They sunk real life old ships at Dunkirk to create a wave break. And a storm came in and washed a lot of the ships up onto shore and into their false harbours and everything. So if steel ships that have been scuppered can wash up, imagine what like out here, a wooden ship, what would happen to that? I mean, I wouldn't think that would work. Education. Watching YouTube. That was actually a really interesting show. It was a really interesting show. Am I on the right layer? I'm on my ink layer. That's not the right layer. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna try that. That'll do. That'll do. We'll finish the lighthouse, I think, another time, but that's where I'm gonna put the lighthouse. I think that actually makes a whole bunch of sense right there. Okay, so how do I want to do this? Oh, not like that. That would not work. Ooh, okay, well, let's, I guess, get rid of all of that. That's because my bloody eraser is too large. Damn it. Because I can't see the damn cursor. Alright, I think what we're going to do with this is, I think we're going to kind of give him a little bit of a villa type thing like this. Close enough. Okay, and then I think something like that. A little bit of an inner courtyard that's a little bit different than I would normally do. Let's create a roof here. think something like this, and we'll do something like that. Oh, you went too far, girl. You went too far. Hold on. In fact, what if I did this? There you go. That works. That works. Okay, so outbuildings. Yeah. What about a little bit of a gazebo type of thing right here? We're definitely going to do gardens and stuff. Okay, so that's taking shape. That I think... That's a fairly big building. That is a fairly big building. But it's more like a complex. You know what I mean? It's like a manor house. And we're going to do some more outbuildings and stuff right here. I think that'll look pretty sweet. Yeah, being at the mercy of the tides, what faster exactly. In fact, fun fact, when I went to England, visited Cornwall about 10 years ago, there was an old wreck that had been washed up, and it was a metal ship. It was like an old fishing vessel or something like that. But it was iron, or steel, I guess steel. Iron, old iron ship. But it washed up on the shore of Cornwall. And it was almost fully intact, clearly rusted. You could see parts of the insides and stuff. But I took some photographs, and it was literally recognizable as a ship. Then there was, I don't know what it was. I don't know if friends or family had revisited that spot just a year or so later. The thing was almost gone. It was almost gone. I don't know how I know that. Someone must have gone back there. And they said that they were going to take new pictures or something, and it was there was virtually nothing there. So yeah, it just got destroyed in the intervening time. And that was metal. So Barnhouse just got in today. Chaosium's print-on-demand copy of Horror on the Orient Express. Impressed by the quality. That is print-on-demand. I know, right? I got a print-on-demand Masks of the Nyala Hetep. I'm happy. I mean, I'm happy. It I don't feel like I need to go off and actually buy a real book. So it's on point. It's print on demand nowadays is great. I have the real Orient Express behind me over there. Sorry, the real. I'm being snooty. But you know what I mean. Alright, so what do I want to do here? I'm not going to have a tower. We've already gone potentially through towers and fortifications. I feel like this is an area that would lighten up a little bit. Alright, governor comes in here. We're going to start seeing some trees and things appearing. For sure. It's got to be all nice for him. I feel like I want it to open out. It's going to open out. And we're going to have maybe some guest buildings. We need guest buildings over here. No guards and shit, that's all over there. I mean, yeah, there's going to be some guards, but not barracks and crap. But a guest villa. Alright. And maybe an aviary. Probably need some slave quarters too, huh? Yeah. Yep. A horse pen. Yeah, okay. I can see a horse pen. I'll tell you what, because our latency is so low, like, you're chatting and it's coming through. Like, it is coming through. So I'm actually, scared of, like, missing some stuff. So, garden area. Definitely a garden area. So, what have we got? We got a garden area for sure. And then what was it? A horse pen. Maybe a horse pen. Sure. Gardens for sure. Some manicured gardens. Peck says, no, you're good. I know what you mean by real book, real deal. I can still tell the difference. But no, for print on demand, honestly, it is absolutely freaking on point. It really, really, really is. And not that expensive. Family, guests, and the lucky servants who get to live on the island. Yep. What looks like a Mayan step pyramid? Okay. Oh, no. Okay, so when I was drawing it, I gotcha. Hey, it's Noble Dwarf here. Hey, hi, Noble. I noticed that you shipped some t-shirts for me, by the way. Thank you very much. As soon as they get here, I will be wearing them on stream. Looking forward to it. A small hedge maze. Maybe. I mean, this is meant to feel Mediterranean, right? And so if we start doing hedge mazes... Well, we did hedge mazes on Light Harbour. And I kind of want to keep it exclusive to Light Harbour for a while, you know what I mean? But I think a hedge maze would make this feel European and not Mediterranean. Did they even do mazes? I'm not sure they did. I'm not sure that was a concept to them. Okay, so what I'm doing is I am going to create this artificial screen of trees. So we can have slave quarters. Now, slave quarters did often, like, they were built in and off the villa itself. So I think we're going to do a level of that around about here somewhere. Maybe off here. Maybe off here. Maybe around the back. I don't know. But I'm kind of definitely going to put it behind the trees here. I feel... For some reason, this governor is a little bit of a snob with his visuals, you know, what he wants to see. What can I say? What's about... Yeah, so, yeah, no, the labyrinth, but, like, an actual, hedge maze. But yeah, so that's a good point. Thank you, Alex. You're like, well, actually, you're right, 100% right. Oh, wait a minute. That went wrong. There we go. Fairly simple building. like that. Yeah, I'm actually okay with that. But I am actually going to slightly knock down this wing. And I'm going to put in a walled area here, but it is literally just a wall. I saw this on a villa once, actually. I'm going to... do something like this. Okay, now this is going to be a real pain in the ass here because I can't see my eraser, but let's have a go. Come on, there we go. You can do it. Well, my eraser now is probably 1 pixel in size, but that'll do it. And like I see this as being an area where goods are brought round. Kept out the way, you know. There we go. Yeah, that has the right feel for it. It's like tucked out there. That's where the servants are at and such. And I think we'll have a path coming through. I feel then we need some stables off to one side, right? We've got our guest house over there, stables off to one side, and gardens. We'll do gardens here and gardens at the back. How are we doing for time? I don't know. So you know what? I'm just gonna go until we're done with this damn thing. Let's do the same thing again. Let's actually create a walled area. In fact, this here something like this. Just a little posher, you know. And in fact, I'm going to continue that out. Whoa, 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 whoa. There we go. All right, so let's continue this out here. So if his lordship wishes to pull out one of his favourite fillies and go for a little ride, perhaps, on the island, he can. I'm digging this. I think this is a cool look to it. And it is not an insignificant little complex, so I'm kind of okay with this. I'm going to get rid of our trace layer here. In fact, there's a quicker way of doing this. There we go. Alright, so gardens and horse pen. We are set on them. How do I... So normally I draw my gardens in, but at this scale the ink is very heavy. The gardens are going to be dark. I think I'm going to do the gardens in colouring. So I'm going to do the flagged areas and trees, but leave the actual gardens until the colouring phase. I think that's the way to do it. Alex, that's actually a kind of cool story concept. I like that. Okay, so let's go back to our brush here. And let's go to our paths. You know, we're going to flag this area right here because it seems posh. There we go. Not the inside though. The inside is definitely going to be gardened. Likewise there. But we're going to heavily tree this area, but what if we did something like this? Or we put some kind of statue, etc. in there. You know what? No. Yeah, no, I'm going to keep it. I was going to say I want a dirt path going up to the lighthouse or a rocky path. But no, this is a big city. This is going to be a rich thing. I think the lighthouse is a feature and they're going to have a proper flagstones going up to it. They've got the wealth for it, this place. I think that's nice. I think that's nice. Let's change our brush. Let's go back to... Come on, there we go. Let's go back to the black. Oops. Resize this to about... there-ish. Get rid of the mistake we just made. Back on the buildings. I want a water feature in here too. So maybe this will be it. I'm gonna make this thinner. Thinner again. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so we're gonna go to you. What scale are we at? 15. Let's do 10. And I think... in fact, hold on. Where's my path? Let's clear the path just a little bit. Let's go back to you. I think right here we're gonna have a statue. And that's gonna be a fairly big statue. That base is probably about 20 feet across, 15, 20 feet across. But I feel like we need... Let's actually use my mouse for this. And not being able to see my cursor is really not helping, but... Okay, something like that. We are definitely going to be adding way more garden effects to this. But this, I think, is pointing in the right direction. In fact, let's do a little bit over here too. Yeah, we're gonna definitely have gardens here, but I think this guy's got a pretty swanky island. Okay, so we're back tomorrow night. We're going to be working the same map. Now, I don't know if we're going to be working the same map for the entire summer, by the way. I do have a project, and I'm kind of under a little bit of an NDA, but I am going to talk to them to see if I can stream it. They're probably going to say no. The contract already has that vibe. But I am going to ask them. Doesn't hurt, right? If I can actually stream it. If I can stream it, then you will see me working on another project as well. We'll see how that goes. I don't want to insert a third project, by the way, just to create variety, because I think that will actually just overload me. You know, I'm just going to be going slower. So for now, we're working on this Age of Antiquity map. Now, it is coming together really nicely. I think we made good progress tonight. So tomorrow night, maybe I'm hoping to work on the aqueducts a little bit. In fact, there was a sample that the client sent in. Let's just check our sample here. So this. Alex Gray. I love the Alex Gray role-playing sessions. To his 4-year-old daughter, no, sweetie, you can't have a setters living in the pond. It is too big, would be full of responsibility, and would be a lot of responsibility. I love it. Strega, you're welcome. And yes, who wouldn't like an island like this, right? But let me just real quick. So this came from the client. And I just want to check something. So what is this? That's an 8 and a 9. Oh, the bathhouses. Okay, so we've got 8, 9, and 7. Where's 7? There. So you know what? Let's just make sure that we're going to have these. So 7... We need a bathhouse somewhere here. So what I'm going to do real quick is we're going to have a bathhouse here. We need kind of up in this area up here, right? We need another bathhouse. So, you know, roughly here. Another bathhouse here. And then we need a bathhouse kind of over this sort of direction. I think that, and then number 10 is wealthier district. No problem with that. We've got the slums and everything. Those were the main things. I wanted to make sure where the bathhouse is in. So, you know, maybe tomorrow night we'll actually draw the bathhouses, which will mean that we actually start dipping our toe into the rich district. Maybe we'll do a little bit of that. Maybe we'll go and see how the other half lives, huh? Maybe get a little... Maybe draw this in as well. Yeah, let's do that. Let's draw in the bathhouses. Let's draw in this big temple here. And let's draw a couple of Roman villas. Make it start looking really swank. And yeah, this island... I love how this island area came out. I think the military area looks military-like. I think it looks like a garrison. And that island, damn, it's to die for. I am really in love with that island. So, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget that I do upload other types of videos here too, so watch for them. By the way, end of this week, I'm going to play around with a spray gun, a paint spray gun that I've owned for years. I've been scared of it, been watching some videos, probably going to record me having a go at it. So watch out for that video here shortly. Otherwise, I love you all. Thank you so much. Don't forget you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all under Alyssa Faden. Links somewhere. They'll be in the description after the fact, I suppose. Thanks again, everyone. I'm back tomorrow night. We're going to draw the Rich District. I love you all. I'll see you on the flip